the most irritating, the most infuriating, the most aggravating gun I've probably ever used in Battlefield is the Famas. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to my motherfucking channel. Hope you're doing well today. Don't get me wrong, I do not think this gun is bad. I do not think the Famas is bad in any way, shape, or form. For me personally, I cannot use it. For whatever reason, maybe it's just the way I play, I'm not that good with it. The gameplay that I'm going to show you is relatively okay. It's like a decent gameplay. But let me just hammer this home here. This was like a once in like a 3-day trying to get this gameplay. There's a reason I'm reviewing this gun last. It's because I had, without a doubt, the most difficulty. At first I said, okay, well, I'm just going to do a highlight reel, and it was so difficult because I couldn't get a large amount of kills quickly just because I had to reload every fucking 5 seconds. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just try and, bang out a good, long gameplay. And that didn't work either, so I was like, fuck. So I just hopped on, and this happened, and I was just in the right place at the right time, and it worked. I guess something clicked in my head. I don't know what the fuck happened. But I'm glad it did, so I can review this gun and bring it to you guys. So don't let the gameplay fool you. I'm not the biggest fan of this gun. Before I really go into why I'm not the biggest fan of this gun, let's break down the statistics a little bit so we can all just be on the same page once and for all. So, the gun shoots at 1,000 RPM. That means up close and personal, chances are you're gonna win. Every single time. If you and another player shoot at the exact same time, you should be able to come out on top, no problem, as long as you hit your shots. That's where the problem is, though. Hitting your shots with this gun can be super difficult, because it's not that this gun is wildly inaccurate, even though it is. It's that when you're shooting this gun, if your reticule strays off of the person for even half of a second, that's 10 bullets, right there. You have a 26 bullets in a clip, which already is abysmally low. So you really don't have much of an opportunity to miss with this gun. If you don't kill the guy within the first 2 seconds, that's it. You gotta reload, and you're done. So, to compensate for that fact, or rather to make sure that I get the kill, I put a tack light on this gun. You may say, well, that's really silly, because you've said in other videos that tack lights are stupid because it makes you an easy target. I'd agree with you. If you have a low recoil, slow firing gun, then a tack light is probably not the best choice because you're this big shining light and everyone's going to see you. However, if you have a gun like the Famas where you're only in a gunfight for maybe half a second, that blinding effect could work. Now, experienced Battlefield players will tell you that, a tack light, that shit doesn't fucking work. At least from my understanding. Good players have told me that it's just you make yourself more of a target. You shoot in the center of the light. However, I really do believe that if you just are able to blind him just for a sec, half a second, if that, if you can just throw off his aim just a teensy-weensy bit, then you'll have the upper hand for that half a second, and you'll be able to get the kill. And that's imperative to using this gun, in my opinion. Interestingly, let's talk about the muzzle velocity for a second. Shoots at 630 meters per second. That is pretty goddamn fast, compared to Scar H, which fires at 400. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You put a suppressor on this motherfucker, it shoots at 330 meters per second. That is super slow. I don't know if DICE was sitting there saying, okay, maybe, a suppressor makes this gun a little too deadly. Of course, I know a suppressor does always drop muzzle velocity. It's the same thing. Yeah, it always drops muzzle velocity. So maybe that's just, it's normally just kind of split in half a little bit. I don't know the statistics on it, what suppressors are per every gun, but that's a huge drop-off. And I don't know if you would feel it or not, but I certainly don't. In terms of attachments, I used a muzzle brake and a stubby grip. The reason I used a muzzle brake and a stubby grip is just to try and control the wild recoil of this gun. Now, if you want to complement the gun in terms of the fact that, it's a good gun for rushing, so maybe you're not going to get in those long-range fights, so you don't need that much control over, aiming the gun. You just need to be able to get within those 20 feet, and then you can just lay waste to everybody. In that case, I'd recommend an ergo grip and an aiming laser. And your reticule will be so small that you will just hip fire for days and dominate everybody. And you should be perfectly okay. Now, for me personally, the biggest drawback for me with this gun is not the fire rate, it's not the small clip size. The biggest drawback for me is when I'm aiming in the center of your shoulders, right? So right in the middle of your chest. That's the biggest part of the human body. That's where you're broadest. So if you're a little inaccurate, it's okay. If you stray left to right with your reticule, it doesn't matter because that's the biggest part of the body. You'll still probably get some, hit markers. And on top of that, the recoil naturally will levitate to the head. On most guns, it normally doesn't jump up so high that, you're shooting above his head. Normally, you get a lot of headshots when you aim for the chest just because of the recoil. In my experience, when I use the Famas, I shoot this guy in the chest. One shot, boom. First bullet, clean most of the time. Second bullet, however, tends to go over his head. Over his head. So I find myself having to aim lower, more towards the stomach. I'm missing more shots. It feels weird to me. I'm not used to that. So it's like, fuck. What am I really doing here? And I lose. I just lose the gunfight. That's it. Now, I've been killed by this gun enough that I understand it's good. I understand there are players out there who have probably mastered this thing and can just dominate people with it. However, if you are not if you're like you like to sit back and just get, pop shots on people long range, don't use this gun. You're going to hate this gun. And I don't really like this gun. I like the AEK. I love the AEK. It has 900 RPM. It's only 100 less. It's like that's barely a difference. So, for me personally, I would go with the AEK. I think the AEK is better. You don't just spam out and ruin your whole entire clip immediately, and you can actually retain some of your accuracy. Now, if I'm going to try and be as objective as possible, let me just say I think the best possible playstyle for this gun is to rush. I don't think camping works. I think if you try and camp and you're one of those players that likes a super high KD and you like to camp around corners, you're not going to like this gun, in my opinion, because every time you get a kill, you're reloading, and the reload time matters a lot for this gun. Reload is 2.8 seconds. 2.8! That's a long fucking time with bullets left in the clip. If it's empty, if your gun is completely empty, it's 3.5 seconds. So imagine every 2 seconds having to wait another 4 seconds. I'm pretty sure it takes less of a time to empty a clip than it does to reload one. Okay, that's pretty crazy. So, if you're going to use this gun, you need to rush people. You need to rush the shit out of them. So, for me personally, I think if you're aggressive, if you can handle the kickback on this gun, you'll love it. But I think the AEK is better. I think in terms of if you want a more versatile all-around rushing type gun, AEK blows this one out of the water. In my opinion, as always, this is just my opinion, which I've probably said way too many times by now. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. I really, truly hope you enjoyed this video. And, on top of that, I upgraded the quality a little bit. It might just be a placebo effect, but I think the quality looks better. And I'm happy with it. If you guys are not happy with the quality, let me know so I can fix that shit, son. So I really want to bring you guys the best possible content. That said, I'm out tomorrow night. Xbox One midnight release. I hope I get one. Don't worry, I will. Got it all mapped out. Going on my evil genius shit. Peace, motherfuckers. Take it easy and have a beautiful day as always.